Actually, just woke up, going over to my laptop. Oh, YouTube Studio. First video to hit 100,000 views.
Let me tell you, a lot has changed these last few months.
Where you get that from?
I feel like a new Drake album that just came out around that
Go
time.
F yourself.
Give it up for Gary V!
What's good, everybody?
So the first video that went viral, I remember it vividly. It was on November 6th of 2023. I've been doing the podcast for nearly 2 years at the time, and I would film it on my laptop. These are all remote recordings. I would film it after work. I would edit and I'd write the show notes on the weekend. I even left my job to do it. And for the longest time, when I tell you, for the longest time, it felt like it wasn't working. Every single week I would post and the video would get 100 views, then 50 views, then 43 views, then 86 views. It was not taking off. But November 6th, everything changed. Very quickly, that episode got over 100,000 views. And then it kept going and going and going. And at that moment, it felt like something had shifted. The thing that I'd spent so much time pursuing, chasing, dreaming of was finally happening. And you would think at that moment, I would feel this elation. I even thought that I would feel elation. And don't get me wrong, for a second, it felt great. It felt amazing. But then I felt the pressure to do it again and again and again. All right, let me tell you the story. I made the decision that I would go wherever I needed to be to get the best guests for the show. And so we started in Miami, and then we went to Atlanta, then to London. And every time I had doubt around money or if the content would even work or if we'd be able to get guests in these new locations, I told myself this is my new reality. And it worked. The numbers went up and up and up. And then I landed in LA. Yes. That is LA, La La Land with the sunny weather and the celebrities and the models. But I wasn't there for any of that. I was there to learn how to make my first million.
How you doing, brother? Good.
And you know what? Before we get to that story, let me give some context. So I remember one day, it's early January of 2024, and Arland Hamilton is the guest that I want to get on. She's releasing a book at the time called Your First Million, and she had this crazy inspirational story. Basically, she went from being homeless, living in an airport in San Francisco, to raising $30 million for her own venture capital fund. And I knew that it would work. Like, I knew it would be a great show, a great episode with her. The problem was that Arland has such a large profile. She has hundreds of thousands of followers across all of her platforms. She's been on Forbes, she's been on Time magazine. But I'm like, you know what? Like, let's just do this. So I go on Google, I find her email, and 20 minutes later, I've typed out an email and hit send. 2 hours after that moment, I see a response in my inbox. That response, all it says is, can you jump on a call in an hour? We jump on that call and Arland agrees to come on the show.
But yeah, I don't.
Who's the first one?
I really don't know anybody's schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did a lot of audio, video.
Yeah.
Things. And then I'm doing stuff right now that's gonna start
Okay.
back to back.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we do.
Okay. And then Drew, can you keep time with me? We have to leave here at 2:30.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've also got a clock right there, so I'll also have that in mind. Sweet. You want to go into it?
Floor, and anytime I talk about it, by the way, I can feel it and see it. I feel the floor. I have my jeans rolled up as a pillow, no covers. I have my suitcase right in front of my face so I don't have to see people walking by. And there's, lights are blaring. There's never any rest. And I don't think I would have made it several days, several weeks of that if I wasn't thinking about this bigger picture. So I think that's where you have to start. And if you find yourself really stuck, it might be because you're thinking too small.
The episode that we recorded was an absolute hit. It's one of the most popular episodes that we've done. And 3 months later, she invites me to attend her very first conference that she's hosting in LA. Now, the speaker list for that event is absolutely stacked. So Issa Rae, comedian and actress, Rich Paul, who's LeBron's agent, founder of Clutch Sports.
And you also had Sheila Johnson, who was the first Black woman billionaire. You had Gary Vaynerchuk, who I've been watching since I was literally 15 years old. And to me, sitting in the crowd, sitting in the audience, and I remember it vividly, and watching these people speak and share their story and things that they'd come up through, it was so surreal. And what really stuck it home was the number of people, the number of you guys, the audience, other attendees at the conference who came up to me. I remember one moment, this woman comes up to me and she's emotional. And she tells me, the reason that I'm at this conference is because I watched the episode that you did with Arland. And it was so impactful and it spoke to me. And I saw that you had the link for this event in the description. And I knew I had to be there. And so it was like, it was not only the guests and it was not only the experience at the conference, which was awesome, but it was also just the impact and being able to see it in person, everything that this had come to. And so despite all of that, and despite this amazing experience, there was still just one thing that was missing.
I kind of came to LA with this mission of speaking with Arland and figuring out why was it that 3 months prior, she had decided to come on the podcast. Like, she's doing this whole media run where she's going on different shows, names that you would probably even recognize if I said it. And then she makes this decision to come on my show first. And I wanted to ask her why. And there was so much happening during the event, I didn't even get the opportunity to do that.
I think whenever you're on a journey of like building something, you'll kind of get these surreal moments. And I just spent the last month, so the last 28 days I spent in London, not in the exact area I grew up, but in areas that I used to go through on the bus, and just being in the city and seeing like the areas I grew up, and now thinking that we're doing this and we're outside the Lakers arena, you know, which is my dad's like favorite basketball team. It's my favorite basketball team. Some of the people that we've gotten to speak with, it's surreal. And the way I'm even talking right now, you can kind of tell I'm a bit tired because we've done a lot, and it's really been a journey, and we're going in so many different directions. But no, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful to you guys, the audience, the people that watch, the people that support, that comment, that like, that hit me in my DMs. I'm really like grateful that we're even in this position, and I'm excited because I know we're just getting started.
So fast forward a few weeks now, and I'm back in New York City, and something very interesting happens. I get an email from Arland, and she says that she's doing a meet and greet event in New York City if I want to stop by. And so I gladly accept. And like I said earlier, there's been this one question on my mind, and her answer completely shifted my mindset.
I send you a cold email. It's like in the morning, it's 9 a.m. And I'm like, I've been following you for years. I'm like, it's time to get her on the podcast. I send you a cold email. You literally respond a few hours later and you're like, let's jump on a call. I'm kind of just, give me your perspective. I know my perspective of events. Give me your perspective of events, of the email lands in your inbox.
I don't remember the email, but I remember checking out your YouTube page to vet it.
Yeah.
And what I really loved about it was that you had recent, in that moment, that you had recent success with a particular video that had done like 100,000 or something at that time. So probably 600,000 at this point.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what impressed me, because I get a lot of those requests. I scrolled down and I saw that you had been doing this consistently every single time, and that the research and the care that you took into your interviews started before you had any viewers.
Yeah.
And you just did it week after week after week. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this from home, I'm going to do it on Zoom, I'm going to do it, and then it just elevated. And then of course you had that moment that got swept up, and now, it's doing millions of views.
Yeah.
That to me was what was impressive. And I was like, because that's what I look for.
Yeah.
I look for that when I look at companies and founders.
Yeah.
Who are the people who are doing something before they have outside help? Who are the people? What are they doing with what they have? When they meet me.
Yeah.
So that was really intriguing to me. So that's why I said yes to it.
Yeah.
And I had my new book coming out. I was going to be in New York. I live in Los Angeles, and I thought great timing. And we ended up making it work, right?
Remember this. Every time that you show up and you work on your craft and you learn and you improve one thing, in that moment, you are a success and you're on the clock. Your time is coming. It's only a matter of time before everything makes sense. And that, very ironically, is the exact story of the podcast. I was posting for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And the numbers, the metrics were not budging even a little bit. And it's funny because I got to a point where I was so frustrated. It just felt like it was going to take long and take so much longer than I thought. I just got to a point of acceptance with the whole thing. And when I reached that point of acceptance and I just focused on getting better at the craft rather than having a video that took off, that's when everything happened and that's when everything clicked. And so when Arland says that the thing that impressed me about you the most was that period where you kept posting when it wasn't working, that's the moment when you're successful. And everything and all of the achievements and the validation and the accolades and the views will follow, and it will be inevitable. But at that moment, you're successful. So if you're showing up, if you're doing the thing that you felt like you were put here to do, right now, you're a success. Time hasn't caught up yet.